all they do is sit down, tell their clients what to do, and they have a milkshake on the side, Twinkies on the side, and
just standing there holding the pads.
yeah, I don't want to be that. I want to show them.
Okay.
I want to be in shape.
Lead by example.
Exactly.
Back at you with another one.
Another one.
Today, we got fellow Brooklynite in the building, world-renowned champion and trainer, Greg Ardon. Thank you for being here, Greg. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, man.
It's a pleasure being here, man.
Yeah. So let's start where it all began. What was your early childhood like? Where did you grow up?
I was born in El Salvador.
Okay.
Most people don't know that. But
I was unaware.
Right. Anyway, I started off with, I used to be a soccer player.
Okay.
And, you know, when you play soccer, a lot of time you kick other players by accident. And so sometimes you get into fights. They punch you punch back, and things like that.
Okay. Young children going at it.
Exactly. So my mom saw that. Said, you know what? Actually, my mom was a big fan of boxing and martial arts. And she said to herself, maybe this kid should go into some type of martial arts. So she took me to a school, to train martial arts. And that's how it all started, man.
So what did you start training first?
I started karate and then kung fu.
Went from karate to kung fu.
And then from then on, I got into kickboxing.
Okay.
Then I realized that to improve my game, I needed to get into boxing. So I started doing boxing.
Training boxing.
And I took off from there. I started fighting, Muay Thai, kickboxing.
Muay Thai, kickboxing, boxing. That's what you trained me in years ago, boxing.
Yeah, and after a while, I became national champion. And I started training my cousin. May he rest in peace.
Rest in peace.
Eddie. Actually, he was a good friend of Paulie.
Oh,
Eddie.
okay. We had Paulie here on the show.
Yeah, Eddie.
I'll put a link up here.
Eddie Ardon, yeah. So I started training him, and other trainers saw me training him. And they said, you know what? That looks like a pretty decent trainer. Maybe we should hire him. So they started hiring me to train them, and I started training a lot of boxers, amateurs and then pros.
Okay.
I trained David Telesco, who actually was #1 in the world.
Wow.
He fought Roy Jones to a decision. I was playing soccer since I was like 5 years old. And I started, when my mom took me to a martial arts school, I was about 10, I would say, 10, 11.
10, 11 years old?
Yeah. I owe everything to my mom, by the way, because she's the one that introduced me to it. She may she rest in peace. She passed away about a year and a half ago.
Rest in peace.
From an accident, actually.
Oh, man.
So, up to this day, I'm very, very sad about it. I miss her.
I can imagine.
She was my true idol, So, yeah, I was about 10, 11.
So it's fair to say that maybe your mom was your biggest influence into mixed martial arts.
Oh, definitely. I mean, I don't know if she had a crush on this guy, but she liked him a lot. It was Bruce Lee.
Oh, okay.
And I
like Bruce Lee a lot too.
I was actually very jealous and envious
of Bruce Lee.
Yeah, because she liked him a lot, and I said, you know what, I can do better than him. So yeah, she was my biggest influence. And then of course I found out that this guy, he was good. How can I say? Most people say he's not a proven fighter, but I mean, from the way he moved, from the things he did, it was a legit athlete, a legit fighter.
I'm pretty sure he was proven.
Yeah.
You know?
So Yeah, and I took off from there. I got into MMA. I kickboxing, jiu-jitsu, all the fighting arts.
Oh, okay.
And
okay.
up to this day, I practice every day. Even though I'm a trainer, but I want to be a trainer that can show my athletes how to do things, not just
An active
tell them.
trainer.
Well, you see, you have a lot of trainers, and I don't know if you've seen this before, but it's a lot of trainers in gyms. I mean, they're really out of shape. All they do is sit down, tell their clients what to do, and they have a milkshake on the side, Twinkies on the side, and
Just standing there holding the pads.
yeah, I don't want to be that. I want to show them.
Okay.
I want to be in shape.
Lead by example.
Exactly. So if one day they ask me to spar, I'll spar with them. So that's the way I look at it.
All right. That's great. That's great, man. I know you have a lot of students that you're training.
Yeah. This is my passion. So I decided to open a gym called Ardon Sweet Science Gym. And I have trained a lot of athletes, like a lot of boxers, kickboxers, MMA fighters. And the main reason why I opened a gym is not only to train and to share my knowledge, but to have a place for myself where I can train all the time. Because this is what I love doing.
Okay.
And so, yeah, I train a lot of fighters.
And congratulations. It was just 20 years, I believe, on the gym.
Yes,
Yeah,
20 years.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Very nice. Very nice. 20 years of business. That's highly respectable.
Yeah, having a gym in New York, especially in the area where I'm at, it's not easy
Of
because
course not.
the rent just
I've
keep
seen
going up.
many gyms open and close throughout
Yeah,
the years.
many.
And you've been consistent.
Yeah, we're still trying. We're still there, and hopefully stay strong.
So you mentioned you were a national champion. Was that here or in
Yeah,
El
US,
Salvador?
US.
US national champion.
Yeah,
What year was that?
that was 2000. Not to give so much my age, but 2001. Yeah.
2001 national champion. And what happened after that? You decided you didn't want to go pro, or?
Honestly, I never consider myself retired,
Okay.
but I stopped fighting because I was training too many guys and enjoy. It's not. How can I say? It's not nice. It's not right that you're gonna have fighters that you train and then you
Just
spend
give
a lot of
up
time.
on them and leave
Yeah, and
to pursue your own career.
exactly. So it's a little bit selfish in a way.
Absolutely. I could see that. So what would you say was like the hardest fight of your career?
The hardest fight of my career, I don't know. COVID,
COVID.
the pandemic. It was
Staying in business.
yes, that's the hardest fight.
Were you training fighters that were wearing masks
Yes, I was, and mostly in the park.
in the park? That's
Yeah.
where you did it?
Yeah, we have no choice. We had to open,
wow.
close the gyms and stuff.
Wow.
I actually wrote a script during the pandemic.
Did you really?
A
Movie
kind of-
script.
Yeah,
Oh, wow.
I hope to shoot it soon.
Okay.
That's all we could do at the time. Train, and I would write.
Use your time wisely.
Yeah,
Yeah, absolutely.
so I will keep you up to date with that.
Yeah, please
hopefully-
do. Please do. I'm very curious.
Yeah.
So, like, when you're training or when you have a fighter in training, how does nutrition play a role into the training?
Nutritious, you gotta watch what you eat, or tell your fighters to watch what they eat, because what you eat is what becomes you. Whatever you put in your system is how you're gonna put out your workload.
The building blocks that your body's going
Right.
to use.
So it's like a car. Depending on the gas you put in, that's how your car is gonna perform, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So I usually recommend a well-balanced diet, a lot of greens. Stay away so much from starch, stuff like that, and sweets, sugar. So yeah,
What was the most important lesson you've learned from mixed martial arts, whether, inside or outside of the ring?
I would say self-control,
Self-control.
and discipline.
Discipline.
Sticking to something and finishing it.
Discipline is highly important.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially in the fight game. You have to be highly disciplined. As a trainer, what do you think is the most common mistakes that a fighter makes?
There could be a lot of things that a lot of mistakes that a fighter could make. Fighting at you, for example, fighting at your own weight, not exceeding the weight, not going down below your weight. Because when you go down too low, then you try to fight the lightest weight possible, then you lose the power, you lose the energy. If you go too high, then you lose speed. So try to fight at a comfortable weight where it's healthy for you.
The happy medium.
Right.
Gotcha. So losing too much weight, you're going to be weak, not as powerful. And then if you bulk up too much, get too strong, you don't have that speed.
Right,
that you need. Speed kills.
Exactly.
When you're training these fighters, how do you keep them motivated to keep going? Like when they have a big fight coming up, what do you do to prepare them?
What normally the people that I train, they kind of look up to me. Like I said before, I go by example. I show them, and when they see me, they get motivated. I train people that have become national champions, world champions. I even train a few boxers actually. Yuri Foreman.
Yuri Foreman. Yeah,
I mean, he was already a champion when he came to me, but he wanted to become a world champion again.
Is he the one who fought Cotto in Yankee Stadium?
Yes.
Busted his knee in the rain.
Right. That's how the fight
what a
got
sad
stopped.
story.
So actually, Yuri Foreman is the only rabbi world champion.
He was a rabbi too.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
He's the only rabbi world champion.
Wow.
So he's and
I was totally unaware.
He came to me with his manager and said to me, you know what? I kind of like the way you train people, and we're here because I want to become a world champion again. And I said to myself, this is a good guy. I know him for a long time. I know him since he was an amateur, just like Paulie. I knew Paulie since he started boxing. So he came to me and he said that, and I said to myself, a good guy, and I'll do anything to help him.
Yeah.
But in the back of my mind, I said also that this guy doesn't really need to be a world champion again. He's done it. He's been there before, and so many hungry lions coming up.
Yeah.
He's
absolutely
got a name, but he gave it a try. But I don't think he had the hunger like he did before. So right now, I think he's just training and keeping in shape and teaching clients.
So he's just training to keep in shape. He's not trying to make a comeback?
No.
Oh, okay.
But
I was a fan, actually.
We did train for a while, and he started picking up. He did really well. Good guy.
How do you help your fighters overcome, a mental barrier, like maybe after a loss or something like that?
Well, that's very tough for anybody, actually.
Yeah, absolutely.
But they gotta think to themselves, like, you know what, this is really what you want to do, then go back to the drawing board and start training so you can build up your confidence again. Think about really what you really want to do, and go from there. You gotta have that answer to yourself.
It's got to come from within. You have to have that fire inside. What about approaching a fight? How do you study your opponent?
Normally, I don't really study an opponent.
No.
Basically, if you have good basics, whether it's boxing or any type of martial arts, stick to your basic. If you learn them right, then apply them. And for example, in boxing, I would tell my guys to start off with the jab. See where it can get you. And from there, set up your whatever strikes you're good at. Control the fight with the jab. If you can touch your opponent with your jab, you can touch him with anything. If you see that your opponent is wild, then neutralize him. by using your jab. Or if it's kickboxing, neutralizing by using your push kick.
Okay.
Or MMA, the same thing. And then you set up everything else.
So you've studied all of these different mixed martial arts. In your own, to yourself, which martial art would you say you prefer and like the most?
You know, hard for me to answer that question. I love them all.
I knew you were going to say that.
I love fighting.
I knew you were going to say it.
I truly love boxing. I love boxing. But if I was to tell you which one would my favorite, probably be MMA, because you know
it's everything in one.
Everything.
Okay, all right.
And it's like a street fight.
Yeah,
almost, you know?
exactly.
It's the closest to a street fight.
Outside of MMA, what are your passions or interests?
Well, besides the martial arts, boxing,
any fishing, drawing?
I like everything. I mean, I like
cooking.
I like dancing.
Oh yeah, you're a dancer.
I like popping and locking.
Popping and locking. Uh-oh.
I was actually a gymnast myself.
All right.
So soccer.
Soccer.
One of my favorite.
Yeah, you mentioned that.
My son is really into soccer. He's just turned 14 years old. And my daughter as well. They're both into soccer, and I support them as much as I can. And I mean, they play every day. I go to all the games and most of their practices.
Yeah, you go to them?
Yeah.
You try to, at least, I'm sure.
No, I definitely go to all the games.
Okay.
And me and my wife are always there,
Very nice.
Yeah. I like to give that support that I didn't have,
Yeah.
My mom
it's
didn't.
important, the encouragement and support.
Yeah, my mom, she tried her best, but most of the time she was working, so she couldn't be there most of the time. But I knew she was there in spirit.
What advice would you give somebody who wants to become a world champion? Whether it's kickboxing, Muay Thai, boxing.
I would say, study, find a trainer that you like. Do research on the trainer. And then once you know that you like that trainer, follow his advice. Because that's going to get you to higher places.
I remember we were having a discussion off camera in your office when I came to see you.
Mm-hmm.
You were telling me that you weren't really loving the state of boxing at the moment. The politics behind it and all
Yeah,
of that.
well, there's a lot of politics, especially coming up, Once you get to the top, there's...
it's all about the money.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
But every so often you have some really good fights. Like, for example, the fight coming up, finally.
Which one?
Canelo and Crawford coming up.
Canelo Crawford. It should be interesting. Two weight classes moving up. I don't know.
But,
Crawford's highly skilled.
I like Crawford. His balance, his
powerful,
accuracy, power.
I'm worried about him being able to take a Canelo shot cleanly.
But his IQ is so good.
It is.
It is really good. And
I totally agree.
The only thing, like you said, the power, but you just never know how he's going to relate to that, because you see, Crawford, I heard that he works around
like 180, 190.
heavier than Canelo.
Yeah.
So he's already heavier than Canelo. So we'll see. The only thing is that he hasn't fought guys who are that heavy.
Mm-hmm.
And Canelo has. That's the only difference. But other than that, I mean, Canelo has great IQ too. He's a great, it's a good, but he improved with every fight.
He's been a little flat-footed of late.
Everything he fought Mayweather, he improved.
Ever since fighting Mayweather, absolutely.
Every fight he improved.
Yeah, 100%.
So I think it's gonna be a really good fight. Looking forward to watching it.
I'm excited for it.
Yeah.
We had those free fights out here in Times Square.
Yeah.
They were kind of a dud.
I know.
Haney running,
Yeah.
Rolly knocking down Ryan, and then Ryan running.
Right, I heard about that. You know why I didn't see it?
You didn't watch them?
No,
Yeah, they weren't that great.
I was
honestly.
watching MMA instead.
Okay, all
to be honest.
There you go. Naoya Inoue saved the whole weekend.
Yeah. I heard
Sunday.
about it. Too bad. That was a good venue there.
It should have been. It should have been a lot better than it was.
Too bad.
I was excited for it. How do you get these fighters ready to deal with the pressure of having world-class fights, under your guidance?
Well, it's all building up from the amateur, first you start with your first amateur fight with not so many people watching. Then you go up to a regional level, and then you go to a state level, and then a national level. I think it's a matter of building up, and then you get your first pro fight, pro debut, and then you get more and more and more, and you get to the point where you're already used to being in front of people.
It's natural.
Yeah.
Becomes natural.
Yeah, because it's like I say, it's a building up process.
And the training methods, being that every fighter you're facing is different, do you adjust the training method, or is the training typically the same?
If you're not sure, yeah, right. If you haven't seen let's say you haven't seen your opponent, then it's hard to you go fight the first round. But if you know who you fight and you know the style, then you adjust to that. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't believe in fighting everybody the same, because not everybody's the same. So you gotta
not everybody's the same.
You gotta make some changes. Yeah.
What do you think are the key differences between being a competitor in the ring and being a coach in the gym?
Well, the difference is that, you got to separate that. It's good to know that you know what it feels to be up there, but also know that you're not in there, and you're just an eye from the outside. And you should be able to tell your fighter, your guy, what to do.
How important is it for a fighter to have a strong team around them?
Well, that support is really good, because you have that, it's an energy that you build in the gym, and you bring it with you to the fight. That support system, not only from your teammates, but also from the audience.
So I'm going to ask you a question that I asked Paulie too.
Mm-hmm.
The stoppages. What do you think of stoppages? Because personally, I don't like them at all. I think the ref should just count to 10. Just count. I don't think you're saving the fighter by not counting.
Right. Stoppages. I mean,
too often we see an ugly stoppage where it shouldn't have been stopped.
Right. That could go either way, because only the referee is the one that's inside the ring. He's the closest person to the two pugilists fighting, and sometimes it's hard for us to see it from the outside. You have to be inside, and you have to be that close to actually know what's going on. Like, I remember, for example, I don't know if you remember Chavez when he fought Melvin Taylor. It's very well known.
No, I remember the two fighters. I just don't remember the specific.
And
fight.
A lot of people complained that the referee shouldn't have. I mean, Melvin Taylor was winning the fight, was beating Chavez, no question.
Mm-hmm.
But then Chavez, he knocked him down in I think 10 or 15 seconds before the fight was over, and he stopped it.
Oh wow! Meanwhile,
but we could say, you know what? The fight was almost finished, blah, blah, blah,
let it go.
Let it go. But yet again, we're not the referee. The referee saw something in Melvin Taylor's eye that if he got punched one more time, he would have killed him. That's the only thing. Maybe not. But I guess he didn't want to take that chance.
Yeah.
So sometimes there's you're right. There's some ugly stoppages, right? It shouldn't be stopped, but there's some cases where they need to stop it, because they see the body language, they see the eyes on the other guy's face, and who knows.
Can you share any memorable moments from your time training top fighters?
Memorable moments.
Something that really stood out to you, whether it was ringside or in the gym.
I have many moments like that with Angel Garcia. I don't know if you remember Angel.
Yeah, absolutely.
He was one of my first pro fighters in the gym, actually.
I remember. Yeah, I sparred with Angel. I went to see him fight pro.
Yeah, he used to spar with Paulie a lot. He got him ready for the Zab Judah fight.
Did he? Oh,
yeah,
okay.
Yeah. Paulie trained in my gym for that fight. Actually.
I remember him training in your gym for that fight, but I didn't know Angel
I
had sparred with him.
I have two southpaw. I had Zab Judah southpaw.
Mm-hmm.
Angel Garcia's southpaw, and also Shamar.
So
I have those two.
Shout out to Shamar and Angel.
So yeah, I have them to spar with Paulie to get him ready for the fight, and Paulie did great. He won that fight.
Yeah, Paulie won that fight. Yeah, definitely.
So yeah, my point was you were saying about something that stood out with Angel Garcia and or one of my fighters. Yeah, there's a lot of moments. I mean, I remember one moment when I took him to Dominican Republic to fight.
Okay.
And he fought this guy who had more losses than wins.
Uh-oh.
But this guy, so interesting. You hit him, he will get back up like a zombie.
Oh, wow.
He was the most unbelievable. He was like, no matter what you hit him with, the guy will just come up and
He just get
sometimes a fight like that is very dangerous because no matter how you hit him, he'll get back up and he'll make you tired and then get you, you know?
Wow.
Anyway, he ended up, he couldn't knock him out. He won by decision at the
Won
time.
by decision?
Because this guy was, I mean, like he wasn't real.
He knocked him down a couple of times?
Yeah.
Yeah. Nice.
It was crazy.
So as a retired fighter, what do you miss most about being in the ring?
I guess you would say the spotlight, but I still have it because I'm up there with the fighters.
Mm-hmm.
But the training part, no, I'm still training. I train all the time. That's like I said, that's my passion, and I will not stop. I mean, I wouldn't have a gym if I didn't train.
Yeah.
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 So maybe a little bit of spotlight when they announce you and things like that.
Okay. The announcement.
But I'm still there. I'm still in there, and then once in a while,
You're still in the mix.
yeah, they still call out my name sometimes. So.
What would be one piece of advice you wish you could have given your younger self in the midst of your career?
That's a tough one. I mean, I would say, stay in the gym all the time, but I will stay in the gym the whole time.
You're in the gym anyway,
yeah. I don't know. I can't think of anything right now. I would say that just focus, Focus more.
Okay.
Focus on what you want more,
You've worked with so many athletes through the years. What do you look for to identify a potential fighter? What do you look for in a promising student?
Somebody that can follow you basics. Somebody that can take his time in learning.
Somebody focused, a quick learner,
rather than rushing.
Right.
You don't want to have a quick learner because they try to learn too quick and all the basics go out of the window. So you want to have somebody that paces himself in learning, and that's the one that's going to stay the longest and the one that's going to be the most successful.
In your experience, what's the most important factor in developing a fighter?
Patience.
Patience.
Yeah. You need to be patient in learning. You need to be patient in getting the right fights, and you need to be patient in everything.
What do you think? See, I don't know how it works with kickboxing and Muay Thai. I know in boxing these days, they only fight like twice a year.
Yeah,
Is
it depends how many rounds they're fighting. Like amateur
four
fighters,
to 6 rounds.
Yeah, like amateur boxers, you fight like every month.
Oh, okay.
Pros, depending how many rounds, they're just starting, they're fighting 4 rounds, then they fight every 2 or 3 months.
Okay.
But if you're talking about a 10-round fight or a 12-round fight, then a lot of them, it takes too much out of your body,
Mm-hmm.
So they probably fight like once or twice a year.
Back in the day, they fought a lot more than that.
Yeah.
I remember Tyson fought something like 26 times in 2 years.
26 times, but not 26 rounds.
No, 26 times.
He was knocking
but
everybody
it
out
might
at the
have been
beginning.
26 rounds at the same time, though.
The reason why, because he was knocking everybody out, so
didn't even get hit.
So they get fights like that, you know.
Yeah, true.
I mean, I said before, I'm not really dealing with boxing too much anymore, but I do have a couple of fighters. Actually, 2 pros right now.
2 pro boxers?
That I work, yeah.
Okay.
And one of them is Baka. Baka, he's a Dagestani fighter.
Okay.
I've been training for about 5 years or so. He hasn't fought in a while. And very tough guy.
What weight class?
He's 154, 160.
154. Was that middleweight?
Yeah. he actually fought the number one. I believe he's the champion now, Ennings. You know Ennings?
Ennis?
Yeah, he's the one that most people avoid to fight.
Boots
Yeah,
Ennis?
yeah.
Okay.
They fought him.
Yeah,
Baja.
Jerome Boots Ennis.
Baja fought him, and Baja was stopped
Oh.
because, not to make an excuse for him, but he wasn't in shape, and he never went down. He was stopped because taking too many punches. But he's making a comeback and trying to get him in shape so he can go and fight.
Well, that leads up to the next question. How do you help these fighters cope with the physical toll of the sport on their bodies, both in the short and long term?
Well, number one, they have to have rest. Rest is part of training. If they feel like they're worn out, let them take a day or two off. Go to the sauna, relax the body, get a massage, and make sure they keep themselves hydrated.
Okay. How important is sparring?
Sparring.
You hear these stories that some boxers, like somebody like what was his name? Used to smoke the cigars. James Toney would only spar. Didn't train, only spar. And then you hear some stories, guys would train so much and barely spar.
James Toney was a great fighter, great defensive fighter and everything. But can he talk now?
No.
Exactly.
He got hit a lot.
Too much sparring.
Too much sparring.
I don't recommend sparring too much. I recommend them to do a lot of pad work, a lot of back work, a lot of drills. Sparring, I would say, once a week.
Once a week.
Just to keep yourself honest.
Okay.
Because sparring with where most people get hurt. That's where a lot of the boxers basically they get brain damage from sparring.
Oh wow.
You gotta keep that light. And when you spar, you can spar like to kill each other. You spar to work with each other. That's why it's called sparring and it's fighting, right? It's two different things.
Yeah. Sparring is supposed to be practice, working on something specific and whatever.
You gotta keep your,
Yeah. A lot of these fighters, when they're sparring, they're just trying to fight each other.
Yeah, no good.
And that's not what sparring is designed for.
Exactly. Those are the ones that don't last too long. I mean, if you see people, you go to some gyms and you see people stumbling, that's probably because it took too many punches. Not even from fights, but probably from sparring.
Yeah. Wow. I never looked at it like that. I never thought about it like that. So what would you say is the hardest part of being a trainer?
Well, you gotta keep the fighters in. Yes, you gotta keep them in shape, but you gotta keep them in the gym. A lot of times they tend to slack. You gotta keep them motivated. So yeah, keep them motivated. Do the right thing. Stay away from bad habits. Take care of the eating habits. Stay away from drinking. All the bad things like smoking. Of course. Women,
So how do you manage the balance between being a mentor, a trainer, and a friend to your students and fighters?
How do I manage that? I mean, it's easy. Just be yourself.
Okay.
Be honest.
There you go.
And you don't pretend to be something you're not. Just be yourself, be the friends, and then everything else will click in,
What's the most rewarding part of being a coach?
Seeing their improvements.
Their
progress.
Okay.
I'm taking kids from nothing, from coming off the street and into becoming, Golden Glove champions, professionals. Some of them have opened the gyms. Some of them have graduated from school, and it's all about progress. That comes from martial arts. That comes from boxing. That can come from any sport, as long as they stay motivated.
So how do you stay motivated to continue training and teaching after such a successful career?
Well, like I said before, passion. I have in a way, I mean, I do have a choice, but I have no choice because it's my passion. So yeah, I love doing what I do. And that's why I keep training this guy. I keep training myself, and like I say, the sky is the limit.
They say if you love doing what you do, you don't work a day in your life.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. I remember years back going to Gleason's gym, and they had a picture of you on the wall. You were doing a flying kick.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it. I was like, wow. You know,
That was,
another gym has a picture of a trainer from another gym on the wall.
Yeah, that's very nice. It's very nice of Bruce.
Yeah, absolutely.
Bruce, yeah. Thank you, Bruce. Actually, that picture, you know, it was Bruce and Hector Roca put up the picture.
They put that up?
Yeah, may he rest in peace. I don't know if you Hector Roca. He was the head trainer at Gleason Gym.
At Gleason's?
Yeah.
Okay. Rest in peace, Hector.
Yeah, he was, I'm sure a lot of people miss him. So do I.
Where do you see, you know, mixed martial arts going in the next few years compared to where it was when you first started out?
Well, it has changed so much. When I was doing it, there was no weight classes.
No weight classes.
No weight classes.
Wow.
That started. I don't know the exact year, but close to 2000, something like that. They started the weight classes, but before that, it was all.
Wow.
Didn't matter how much you weigh.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, it has changed a lot, and I think it has become more and more popular every day.
Yeah, it's definitely become more and more popular.
Yeah.
I'll agree to that for sure. Over the next few years, where do you think it's going to go? You think it has surpassed or will surpass boxing?
I think they're pretty much head to head right now. So who knows if it's going to stay like that or... I mean, right now, for me, I like them both like as equal, you know? But some people tend to relate more to MMA because they think that that's more realistic in a fight.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know? So it might become more and more popular. We'll see.
You know, I hear a lot of stories. They say that these MMA fighters, specifically UFC I'm referring to, don't get paid too well compared to the boxers, let's say.
I don't know why, because they... I mean,
it's absolutely blown up. They, you know, pay-per-views and this and that. They should be getting.
They get a lot
well.
of views, and I mean, the popularity they get is amazing. I still don't understand that, but one thing about MMA is that no matter what your record is, you still have a chance.
Yeah, yeah.
You know,
a couple losses in MMA don't mean anything.
Right.
Couple losses in boxing could be the end of your career.
Right, because the way they're both brought up is different. You know.
Yeah.
Bringing somebody up in boxing different than MMA. In boxing, you want to keep your guy undefeated. Once he gets one loss or two losses, you know, managers or promoters don't really want to, you know, look at them, or if they do, they want to use them as a side B, as opponents.
Yeah.
You know, and MMA is different. I mean, an opponent can beat the guy who's a champion and, you know, and make a name for himself.
Yeah, absolutely. You always have a chance, even with a few losses in MMA, UFC, or whatever.
I have guys who made the transition between boxing to kickboxing or kickboxing to boxing. For example, I don't know if you heard of it, Arman Markanovic.
No, I'm not familiar.
In boxing, he is the Latin ABA cruiserweight champion.
Okay.
You know, he's been with me since he was an amateur.
All right.
So he used to box before. Then he went to kickboxing. He fought some very well-known fighters from UFC. Then he's back to boxing now. So he's got a title and he wants to get busy. And I'm training. Those are the two guys I'm training: Arman Markanovic and Baca.
Yeah, in boxing.
Yeah, boxing.
Okay. Good luck to them both.
Yeah.
And you as well.
Thank you.
As the trainer, you know. Wish you all the best.
Thank you.
Well, I don't have any more questions for you right now. We can discuss anything you want.
Well, you let me know. I'm here. I'm from Brooklyn.
Yeah,
You're from Brooklyn.
yeah, man. So usually at the end of the show, I usually just run through the poster. You don't have to turn around. I'm going to ask you about the names. Give me a quick, you know, your first thought essentially on the gentleman behind you. You got Mike Tyson.
Okay, Mike Tyson. He's actually one of my favorite fighters. I met Mike Tyson when he came to Gleason. I used to be a trainer at Gleason
Okay.
before.
I was
you know.
unfamiliar. I didn't know that.
I trained a few pros over there, and I was at the time I was Hector Roca's partner, training fighters. But Mike Tyson was doing community service, and he came to Gleason,
Very nice.
and so he was training kids with mitts, stuff like that, and I was actually there, and he called me over, said, "Can I use your pad?" Blah, blah. So I said, "Sure." And he showed the kids with me holding the pads how to hit the mitts. So in a way, I can say I did mitts for Mike Tyson.
Oh,
Then he used my mitts to train the kids.
very
But Mike
cool.
Tyson was he was a very fierce fighter. Most people say that at the time that he fought, there weren't that many good heavyweights, but it wasn't his fault. He did what he
that's
did,
not
and
his fault.
he took care of business.
Whether they were good or not, he destroyed them.
Yeah.
You know,
So yeah, Mike Tyson's one of a kind.
one of the best. Moving on, you got the Tate brothers, Tristan and Andrew Tate, both kickboxers. Andrew, I believe, was a 4-time world champion.
I heard, I didn't really follow them, to be honest. I didn't really follow them much, but I heard that they were really legit kickboxers, really good.
Yeah,
So
yeah. 4-time world champion, you have to be
you
decent, right?
no matter who you fight,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Exactly.
Like we were just saying with Tyson, maybe they were horrible kickboxers when Andrew was the world champion, but
or maybe they weren't. Maybe
Yeah,
they
or
were,
maybe.
like,
Exactly.
So
Yeah. Moving on, you got the POTUS, President of the United States, Donald Trump.
oh man, I don't want to get too political.
No.
I want to stick to my sport,
Yeah.
but and
I think he likes mixed martial arts.
yes, that I've seen him in some of the
Yeah.
fights, and I don't know what I can say about Donald Trump, Mr. Trump. That I hope he does a good job, and
That's it. You can only hope for the best, right?
representing the U.S. and hopefully he does. Hopefully he does the right thing.
Yeah. I agree. Moving on, you got Jordan Peterson.
I
Familiar?
never familiar. Could you remind me?
He was a tenured professor in Canada who started coming out all over social media talking about basically the clown world stuff happening today. Everything going on with male and female and everything else going on, So he started making noise all over the internet.
What do you mean? What do you mean, male and female?
How men could become women and
That transsexual and stuff like that.
things like that. And he, as a professor in philosophy, he started talking about it and became very popular online.
And what did he feel about it? How did he?
You could be whatever you want, but I don't have to acknowledge it.
That's what he said.
Yeah, essentially, that's his reasoning.
That's a very hot topic. Very
Yeah.
sensitive. I should
Touchy.
say. Very very sensitive. I wouldn't want to touch a subject. I don't like to judge anybody. Let them be whoever they want.
Exactly.
As long as they don't bother anyone.
Yeah, I agree. Couldn't agree more.
And then you move on, right?
Yeah.
Look the other way, as I say.
Yeah, that's it. And last but not least, Pablo Escobar.
I heard a little bit about him. He see the something to do with drugs.
Colombian, yeah.
Colombian
Colombia.
drug-
From back in the 80s.
Yeah, I heard of him, but I don't know too much.
Okay. He was the one who, he was the guy, essentially, bringing in all of the drugs to America. He had a zoo, lions, donkey, zebras, giraffes, everything in Colombia. Rich beyond belief.
Wow.
Yeah.
Where is he now?
He's no longer with us.
They had a show on TV about him, right?
Yes, Narcos.
I was at HBO or Showtime, something like that.
I'm not sure. It might have been Netflix. I'm not 100% certain.
You know what?
There's been a ton of shows, I'm sure, about Pablo
I
Escobar.
heard about it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna look into it and find out more about it. And
Yeah.
if you have me again, maybe we can talk about it some more.
Yeah. He was definitely a character. Interesting man. You know,
Okay.
he tried to run as a politician in Colombia and everything.
Wow. Yeah. I heard so much about those.
He was like the people's champ. The people loved him, but the governments hated him. That's the best way to say it, you know?
So it's like Peter Pan in a way.
I guess, yeah, something like that.
Stealing from the rich and giving to the poor kind of thing.
Yeah, he was giving away houses and everything to the people. Yeah.
I guess you can look at it in a good way.
Depends on what lens you're looking
depending
through.
on where he's coming from also.
Yeah, exactly. He did a lot of horrible things as well. Undoubtedly bad things.
Wow.
You know? But in the same breath, he did some amazing things for people. You know? You got to take the good with the bad, they say, right?
Uh-huh.
Well, that's all I got for you today.
Well,
once again, thank you for being here.
No, thank you for having me. I'm honored to be in your show, and anytime you need me, you're gonna have me again. You know,
camera's all yours. Anything you want to tell the people about what's coming up for you? Anything you got going on? Let them know.
What's coming up right now? No, I was talking about this film that I'm working on, and hopefully, I don't have anything concrete right now, but that's coming up in the near future. Fights coming up. I have some fights coming up in June, both in kickboxing and also boxing. I was just saying Baja will be fighting hopefully within the next 2 months, and looking forward to that. And my gym is located in Sunset Park. If anybody would love to come and check it out,
I'll leave the description and everything, the links down below.
Sounds good. And thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share. We out. Peace.